Hey, Cinco here. Just getting started. If you hear some background noise and stuff, sorry, I'm still in the crappy office. I am not in the new studio that's going to be popping up here. That's getting built out next week. So I'm just really doing tonight as we'll call it like a test run. So we're doing a little bit of a test run. We're going to talk about some mining, some Bitcoin mining. We're going to talk about some nodes. We're going to talk about a couple different things. But anyway, just wanted to say thank you all if you're popping in to check it out. And if this doesn't exactly work the greatest tonight, sorry about that. Like I said, this is kind of working out some bugs. I'm going to try to bring my boy Bobby on here if I can as well. Let me see if it lets me. Let me see here, Bobby. Let me see what I can do. Doesn't really give me an option when I do it this way, so that's kind of the hard thing. Let's see here. Where am I at? Sorry, buddy. Let's see, going in there, and here. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't do it that way. It just kind of broadcasts it. But next week, we should be able to do that. I should have everything worked out by then, except for the background stuff, because I won't be in the new studio for 2 weeks. But, yeah, so just wanted to go live for a little bit. We're going to talk about some things we just talked about on midweek mining. Oh, mic's a bit low. Okay, let me see here if I can adjust that. Let me see. I think it might also be because I'm using I'm not using my headset. I'm using a Snowball, my blue Snowball. So that could be it as well. Let me see if I can up the dB of that a little bit, see if it'll help. Let me see here. Thanks for letting me know. Properties. Let me see if I can up the gain. Doesn't let me. I might have to mess with it in my system. So thank you for letting me know, though. I will try to. I'll try to fix that for next time. So that's one thing to put on the board. Thanks, Bobby. Appreciate that. Is it still okay though? You can still hear me. I hope you can still at least. It's clear. Hopefully, it's clear. Let me make sure it's on the right mic. That could be a problem too. Properties. Let's see what mic it's using. Yes, Blue Snowball. Okay, it is. All right. So what we're going to be doing tonight, guys, talking a little bit about solo mining and nodes. Bobby says I do a podcast with StreamYard, which can multi-stream while also having guests. Okay, I'll have to take a look at that as well, man. Thanks for letting me know. I use Streamlabs. I've been using Streamlabs for a couple of years. And I've liked it just because I'm used to it, but we'll take a look. We'll take a look with what's going on with that. Right now, I am simulcasting too. I've got it going through X, aka Twitter. I've got it going through my YouTube channel and through my Twitch channel. So if you guys are on one of those platforms, if you do me a favor, give me a little wave and chat there and tell me where you're listening from. You know, you're listening from X or you're listening from YouTube or whatever. That way, I can just test to make sure it's going out to everybody. Okay, I'd appreciate it. This is automatically recorded, and it will be available on X and YouTube as well, and Twitch. It'll save it as a live broadcast. This is probably going to be like a 30-minute session tonight. I just got finished doing a nice 55-minute session with our friend Bobby that you see there in the chat and our friend Bitcoin Bull. Every Wednesday night on Twitter, we do what's called midweek mining. It's at 7 p.m. Central U.S. time, where we get together on a space and we talk about different mining topics. So that's kind of a thing we've been doing for a while now, and it's fun. We enjoy it. We get to talk with some cool people. Tonight we were going to talk about solo mining and whether or not you needed a node, and it turned into just basically a conversation about nodes. I can test if you send me a link to the Streamlab. I don't know how to do that, man. You'll have to tell me. I don't even know. You might have to text me with that. Let me go ahead and turn my do not disturb off over here so I can see my phone too. You got to remember, man, I'm not as technical as you are, Bobby. He's the tech genius. That's definitely not me. Y'all know that. But so something that's been popping up lately while Bobby's talking to me in chat there, but something that's been popping up lately in Bitcoin mining circles is going solo for a little while. A lot of people who have been running their miners on in pools and doing pool mining to get a steady payout. Since the difficulty adjustment, which is what we're seeing right here, we'll talk about that a little more here in a minute. With the difficulty adjustment happening in the past, I think it was at least 3 difficulty adjustments. The difficulty of the blocks has been going down. it makes it easier to hit a solo block. So a number of people have been saying, you know what, I think I'm going to mine solo for a while, right? So I know I popped everything that I own right now is off of pool mining, and I put it on my own solo pool on my own node, just because there's a better chance of hitting it. I figure I might as well roll the dice while the dice are hot. So if you're wondering, what the hell are you talking about, Cinco? I'm talking about the difficulty adjustment, right? So every 10 minutes-ish, a block is mined. A Bitcoin block is mined. The purpose of the block right now is twofold. Number one is when you mine a block, you get the 3.125 Bitcoin subsidy for the block, and you also get the fees, the block fees for all of the transactions. That's these little things building right over here. You get the fees for those blocks, which is people doing transactions in Bitcoin, and you mined it and you put it onto the network for them. Okay? So there's a difficulty for that. And that is how hard it is. How hard is the math problem that has to be solved by your mining machine to solve that block, okay? And depending on the number of devices that are out there, mining rigs that are out there mining it, it can be mined every few minutes, or it can be mined in 2 hours. They don't want that to happen. That's not how Satoshi wanted it. He wanted it to be about every 10 minutes. That's the average that they wanted it. So roughly every 2 weeks. Roughly every 2 weeks. So it goes by a block count. Roughly every 2 weeks, the system automatically adjusts based on the number of machines that are trying to solve that math problem, because they want to keep it at right at about 10 minutes. The network wants itself to be at that point. So it will adjust the difficulty up or down. If it adjusts the difficulty up, that's because more machines are mining Bitcoin. If machines come off of the network and there is less global hash rate mining that Bitcoin, then it comes down to make it easier because there's less machines. The whole goal there is to keep it, again, right about 10 minutes, right? Repeating myself, but that's what it does. Keeps it right at about there. We can test it some other time to have me and Bull as guests. Definitely, Bobby. Absolutely, buddy. So right now it's about every 9 minutes, and we're actually seeing, if you look at the times on some of the blocks, it's not even really... It might be averaging about 9 minutes, but I mean, some of these blocks are like, 4 minutes apart, right? They're 4 minutes apart. So that's what happens when we have a difficulty adjustment where the difficulty gets lower and then a bunch of machines get turned on. Okay, why did this happen? Yeah, you weren't lying with these block times being all over the place. Man, the more you look at the mempool, you see like, oh man, like they're all over the place. And you know what? It was more than that. 9 days ago, we actually had, it was almost like Back to the Future. We had one block mined before the other one, and the numbers were disjointed. We'll say, if you're looking at my screen right now, 936143 was actually mined before 936142 was. So we had a block flop. It happens. See, look at that. 7 minutes in between those blocks, right? And look, Foundry. So, I mean, we're used to that, right? Whoop, Foundry. So Foundry just hit four blocks in a row in 14 minutes. In 14 minutes. So what's that mean? That means we've got more machines on than can handle this difficulty right now, right? So more than likely, we're going to see the difficulty go up in 8 days. Now, some people will say, well, why doesn't it just automatically adjust? Why doesn't it just do it when it happens to keep those blocks at 10 minutes? It would be constantly. It would be a moving target constantly. That's not really what the goal Satoshi had in mind with that. That's too much, especially because nodes and everything in Bitcoin is decentralized, right? So if you start doing that, there would be ways that people could probably figure out to game the system and play that time against itself to try to keep those, to try to get an edge with it. So it's set to a certain number of blocks, which translates into roughly every 14 days-ish. And then when that happens, it takes a snapshot, the system snapshots itself and says, okay, in order to fix this, we're going to go ahead and we're going to raise it or lower the difficulty. So recently, a lot of machines got turned off in the Bitcoin network. Why is that? Some people were out there saying, oh man, Bitcoin's crashing. It's down to 67,000 US fiat dollars. So people were turning their machines off because it's not profitable to mine. That might be part of it, but that's not what caused a bunch of these machines to turn off. What happened was weather. Okay, and I stand by this. If I'm wrong, I would love for someone that's technical in the field to tell me I'm wrong. I will admit it if I'm wrong. But the way I saw it was due to the weather. What do I mean by that? We had a cold snap here in the U.S., and in the southern U.S., like where I'm at in Texas, it was a pretty big cold snap that lasted well over a week. Now, when that happened, a lot of people are turning on heaters that normally don't have their heaters on. The power grid gets strained, okay? And when the power grid gets strained, down here in Texas and in a lot of states, they have something called curtailment. And what that means is the power companies have an agreement with these companies that have these large power sinks where they say we're going to need this much power at all times, and they contract for it. So the power company says, okay, we're going to do that, but if we need the power because of a natural disaster like a hurricane or a blizzard, or there's just too much strain on the network, we're going to require you by contract, by civil contract, to curtail, meaning you have to turn your stuff off. Okay? And then with some, they also have agreements of there's some farms out there, not just Bitcoin miners, but AI farms and oil companies, things like that have their own power generating stations that they're actually doing things to create their own power, where the utility authorities will say, hey, in this situation, we're asking you to sell back your power to the grid. We're going to give you a premium price per kilowatt hour or megawatt hour. And, so we can buy that power from you because we're going to need it because there's going to be this event happening that we anticipate. Now, in Texas, a number of years ago, 5 years ago, I believe, we had a February cold snap. We had snow, we had ice, and the power went out in some areas around Houston, Texas. Power went out for millions of customers for upwards of 5 to 7 days. Okay, no power in their houses, their businesses, things just shut down. And that was because the central authority that kind of oversees the power grids in Texas is called ERCOT, E-R-C-O-T. It's a board, and the board really wasn't prepared for this. The Texas grid was not prepared for this. I'm not going to get really deep into how the Texas grid is organized and how it's not really connected and linked into the rest of the country's grid like other states are. That's a whole different conversation, okay? But suffice it to say, Texas was not prepared for that, and we went without power. People died because of the cold. People died from this. So when the cold was coming again a couple weeks ago, a lot of us down here, Bobby and myself, I know, talked about it, and we had said, like, man, what's going to happen this time? How long is the power going to be out, right? It didn't. In Houston, at least, the power didn't go out. And from what we saw on the reports, there wasn't any massive power outages anywhere in Texas for this cold snap. And that's because of curtailment, okay? So that's the one time we have some government reach, and they say something has to happen, and it's a benefit to society, right? And that's what government should be if it's going to run. It should do something that benefits society. It shouldn't be to put the thumb on society, right? In this case, I would say curtailment worked. Because what they did was they told these big companies, that these big mining farms, these AI farms, these companies that require a lot of power generation, they said, y'all got to turn your stuff off. You got to turn it off until we tell you can turn it back on, and then, you're fine. And they did. And when they did, the global hash rate for Bitcoin dropped from above a zettahash, which is 1,000 exahash, and it dropped down to, I think the lowest I saw it was like 820 or 840 exahash. So, we lost over 10% of the global hash rate right there. Now, was all of that from Texas? No, it was not. But there's a chunk of it that was. There's a lot of mining farms here in Texas. There was some in other states, too. Iowa had it. Idaho had it. There was some other state. Georgia had power outages from weather. There was some mining farms there that went down. So it was a thing. It was a thing that happened. So that's part of it as well. But the curtailment, I think, is one of the things we're seeing with this hit on the difficulty adjustment. And now, weather's back up. I'm in shorts and a t-shirt again. It's been, tonight it's going to go down to 48 degrees Fahrenheit here in my area, which I'm just northwest of Houston. But that's really not bad, right? Like, I don't even need to turn the heat on for that here. It's not going to cause that big of a problem. Curtailment has ended. These farms are starting to turn their machines back on. That's where I think we're seeing part of this right here is this jump, okay? Because the Bitcoin price has not increased. So it wasn't to me, it wasn't oh, Bitcoin price went down, so everybody turned the machines off. No, this would still be in the red if that's the case. So I think these farms are turning their machines back on. So now we're going back to competing with them. And we're seeing here, like, with Foundry, I believe in order to mine with Foundry, I think you have to have 5 petahash to join Foundry as a miner, the Foundry pool. I believe that's correct. So, seeing them hit it, I'm betting there's some, the Foundry guys, of course, the people who mine through Foundry with their larger farms, they're turning their machines back on too. It's just happening. But until it goes back up on February 19th at about 11:30 p.m. Central U.S. time, that's about when the next difficulty adjustment will happen. About 8 days. Until that happens, the difficulty went down by 11.16%. That means it's easier to hit a block, right? Circling all the way back to the beginning of this conversation. That means it's easier to hit a block. And that means a lot of people are slapping their stuff on solo mining, because if it's easier to hit a block, I'd rather not share that with someone if I don't have to. I'd rather try to get that whole block and get that 3.125 Bitcoin subsidy plus the fees. So I'm mining through my own node right now. I've got Basin up and running, or Basin. I don't know how to say it. Somebody correct me and tell me how you're supposed to say it. I also use Datum through Ocean, where I can build my own blocks and have my own pool. I only pay a 1% fee if I do hit a block through Datum, so that's cool. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm running it, right? So let me go ahead and minimize this for a second, bring it back up. It's all going through my node. Yes, I am right now mining on a NOTS node and signaling for BIP 110. So if I do hit a block solo, it will signal for BIP 110. And we'll get into that in another discussion at another time, guys. I'm not going to get into that whole quagmire of discussion right now. But I mine through my own node. Do you have to? No, you don't. You don't have to mine through your own node. You can mine through one of the major pools. They do usually have a solo setting, but they're still going to take a taste. Okay, and for those that were in the midweek mining session before this, I'm sorry, a lot of this is repetitive, but they're going to take a taste. They're going to say, we want a piece of it. Depending on who you're mining through, it could be 1% like Datum has. It could be 2% if you're just going through Ocean straight solo, or if you're doing like via BTC, I think it's still 4%. So and it's all over the place. It depends on what mining pool you're going with. If you're interested in, oh man, it's dropping there. Usually I got about 40 connections. I don't know why it's so low tonight. And yes, I do have the correct ports open before anybody says anything. So I just don't know why it's that low. Probably because I had to drop and resync it about 5 hours ago. Maybe that has something to do with it. But there are nodes that you can buy. You can put it on like on a laptop if you want, or something, or you got an old computer laying around the house. As long as it can, as long as you got, and Bobby in chat, correct me if I'm wrong, as long as you got about, like 16 RAM, I would say, you're good. 16, preferably more. 32 would be nice. And you're going to need a minimum, I'd say, of about 2 terabytes of disk space, just thinking of the future. Probably about 2 terabytes of disk space, and a stable internet connection. You can put it on your own node. Okay, you can do that. This is not going to be a how-to and a walkthrough on how to put your own node together. That's something for another time. If you don't want to put it on an old laptop or something like that, there's companies out there that you can buy a node. Okay, none of these companies, by the way, are sponsoring me. This isn't something that I'm getting paid to do right now. This is just Cinco talking. I use an Umbrel. Umbrel just came out with the Umbrel Pro. This really isn't bad. I think I paid like $389 for my Umbrel, and then for like $40 I added an extra terabyte attachable hard drive that I bought off of Amazon. So I've got 2 terabytes on mine. But now you can get an Umbrel Pro for like starting at $699, and it's ready to go. I'm going to kind of just play with it a little bit. These things are tiny, guys. It's like the size of a coaster. I can't show you mine right now because it's up on the shelf. I'm not going to get up and moon you guys. But yeah, they're tiny. You can put it on a shelf. People won't even know what it is. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind. And then you just pull it up. You can type umbrel.local on your computer and it'll pull it up on your network. But these pros, let's take a look here. let's go ahead and pretend we're going to buy one. Let's just pretend we're going to buy one right now, with a 4 terabyte SSD. So see that how it jumped, right? So it goes from $699, and then you want to put 4 terabytes on there. It doubles the price, right? But it's expandable, like it said. You can add. It's got the ports to expand that terabyte, your terabytes of storage space on there. Bobby in chat from over on X says, if you go into Umbrel, you can see how much RAM yours is using. Knott's is running on 6.5 gigabyte of RAM. There you go. So let me see here. Let me pull mine up real quick. Give me 1 second here, guys. I'm pulling my stuff up to see if I can. Let me pull the screen over here. So like this is my umbrel.local. So this is mine running right now, and this is just what I just reloaded some stuff. I don't have everything on there right now. So right now, look, it's using between 12 and 5 CPU as it gets things coming in. Mine's running about 7 gigs of the RAM, and I'm using up about half of my disk space right now. And I don't have a lot on there. So, but yeah, it's and it was super easy to set up. Umbrel is like, here, I'll show you. I'll bring the screen back up. Umbrel is a lot like Apple. Basically, you go into their little app store. You can search for what you want. They have a Bitcoin tab. These apps do not cost you anything to install it. They're all free. It's not like the Apple App Store where some of them are paid, premiums. But yeah, I mean, it kind of categorizes it for you. But like, there's a bunch of different things in here that developers have added that you can put in for, that's Bitcoin related. All kinds of stuff for all different types. I mean, there's some things on here I would never install, ordinals, things like that. But it's there if that's what you want. They have it, so it's there for everybody. You've got Knott's, you've got Core, Bitcoin Core. You've got different wallets. You've got Block Explorers, Mempool, things like that. You got AlbiHub on there. Bobby says if you click on memory, it'll break down how much each app is using. Same for storage. But yeah, tons of different apps in here. It's pretty cool. It makes it super easy for someone like me who I'm not great with the coding, so I just want to be able to do something that's easy, okay? And they've got that. And then there's other things that are just not finance or Bitcoin related as well. This is not just, for that. Now, something to be said, some experts will recommend on your node, do not mix Bitcoin stuff and non-Bitcoin stuff. Because you don't want something to cross over and, compromise your wallets or whatever. It's good advice, okay? I know generally the guys at Umbrel will tell you, hey, our stuff runs kind of in their own little boxes, so they don't cross-contaminate. But other people will say, well, just to be safe, don't do it, okay? So that's that. And if you don't want to buy a device from them, you can just install the Umbrel OS straight from the Umbrel website onto your computer and do that. So, if you want to do that. I'm actually, after our midweek mining discussion that we just had about an hour ago, 45 minutes ago, I found out that there's a Raspberry Pi 500 Plus, I think is what it was called, and it looks like a keyboard, and it's got everything built into it, like it's its own little self-contained unit. They're like $200. I might get one of those so I can make it like a little AI, clawbot type of thing that I can play with, so I don't have that stuff on my Bitcoin node, my Bitcoin. My Umbrel node that I do Bitcoin on. But there's tons of different stuff in here, right? So cool stuff on there. It makes it super easy. Some people will tell you that Umbrel is crap. I have a good experience with it. I don't think it's crap. I think it's been good. There are other companies out there that do nodes as well. If you want to buy one that's pre-made, Start9 has one. Start9 is very reputable. This is straight up for Bitcoiners right here, guys. Straight up for Bitcoiners. They tend to be a little more pricey, but they're also you're buying from a small business that is doing this for the love of Bitcoin. And the prices really aren't that bad. I mean, to me, right? But there's some cool stuff that you can check out, right? Start9 has cool stuff. Parma Node, I see Parma post pretty frequently. What my understanding is what Parma does is basically takes like refurbed laptops and things like that and then makes a node on it and puts it up for sale. So you can go check Parma Node out as well. I like people are just building things and selling things in Bitcoin. That's cool. I love that. So, but again, you can build it yourself if you want. We kind of had a little discussion tonight about, whether you should or shouldn't use Raspberry Pi. We had some mixed discussion on that because I was like, I've heard from people you really shouldn't use Raspberry Pi anymore. They're not really strong enough as they used to be. But then someone came in and talked about this Raspberry Pi 500 Plus, saying that, hey, it actually works pretty good. So, I mean, there's that. So it's a little bit all over the place. Bobby says, I hate to say it, but Start9 cashing out their Bitcoin a few months ago looked pretty smart now. But yeah, he might end up buying things in the dip, right? But anyway, there's some good stuff you can do with that. Now, talking about options for solo miners. Okay, if you're like, man, I'm getting into this, I don't know what I should do. You got some options for solo mining. If you're someone who doesn't have a mining device, you're just starting to learn about it and you want to play with it without doing a huge investment, no problem. We got you. The guys over at PlebSource right now, they are selling their BitX Gammas, which are quality. I use their BitX Gammas. I've never had a problem with them. They ship from right outside of Houston, Texas. So if you're in the United States, you get it super quick. It always comes nice, packed well, and safe. If you have any type of issues with it, which is super rare, but if you do, let's say you get it and for some reason it doesn't work, all you got to do is message them on X or email them, and they're going to get you a new one. They'll either walk you through what needs to happen if it's something you could fix yourself and get it running again, or they'll get you out a new one. I've never heard anyone say to me that they have a problem with customer support for PlebSource. Okay, but $74.99 right now for a BitX Gamma. Pretty good price right there. And these things are like super upgradable. You can do all kinds of stuff to them. You can change out the fans. You can 3D print cases. I don't know where mine is. I 3D print cases all the time. I got so much 3D printed stuff over here, guys. I'm not going to dig for it. But like I print my own 3D cases, but they'll send you one. They'll include one. Different stuff you could do. You put heat sinks on it. You put better thermal paste on them. I have videos on that on my YouTube you can check out. It's super easy. If I can do it, you can do it. So just keeping that in mind, $75, you can be up and mining, solo mining. It's a lottery miner. Okay, what does that mean? If you're new to the space, Cinco, what does lottery miner mean? Tripping over my tongue, guys. A lottery miner just means that you're trying to hit that block, those blocks we were talking about that propagate about every 10 minutes. You're trying to hit one of those solo. If you hit it, you get the 3.125 Bitcoin subsidy plus the fees for everything that was in the block you mined. If you're mining through a solo pool, there's probably going to be a slight charge, a percentile charge for that because they're setting up the block templates for you and whatnot. So just be aware of that. There's someone's going to take a piece if you're mining through their system. Okay, so keeping that in mind, that's a place to start if you want to. They're really not that hard to set up. If you would like to do something a little more bang for your buck and you're willing to spend a little bit more money, I'd recommend you go over to my bros at altairtech.io. And you can, like, here, let's go here. We're going to go for home miners, okay? We'll go to, yeah. Let's do, where is it? Avalon Home. I'm sorry. I looked at it 3 times and it didn't register in my brain, guys. So I'd say the Canon Avalon Nano 3S is the way to go. In 2025, I was cheerleading your first miner should be a Gamma. 2026, I say it's the Canon Avalon Nano 3S. Okay, this device is going to mine. So go back here real quick. 1.2 terahash per second. Okay, that's the power it's mining at. For $75, right? For about $75. Canon Avalon Nano 3S, $284 to $294. You're getting almost 6 times the power. Okay, you're getting almost 6. You're getting 5 times the power. Plus, sometimes it goes a little bit above 6 TH. I've noticed mine does occasionally go above 6 TH. Okay, and that's when you're running it at full. There's different settings. You can run it at low, medium, and ultra. Okay, so these guys are U.S. based. It ships right from St. Louis, Missouri. They get it to you pretty quick. I mean, Altair is quick with their shipping, so got no problems with that. And you got some color options. You can go black or white with it, whatever suits your fancy. And look, that's the difference. Look, if you go black, it's $10 more. The white ones, I use the white ones. I think they look a little more sleek. That's just, it's personal opinion, right? But again, for 5 times the hash rate for, what? 4 times the price of that, right? So $75. So a little less than 4 times the price. It's worth it. And these are also very easy to set up. I mean, you install the Avalon Home app on your phone. You tell it what wallet to connect to. You tell it what address to connect to for your mining pool, whether you're solo or whatever, and that's it. You let it go. You let it go. It does its own thing. So it's kind of nice. And for a solo miner, it's nice to have that 6 terahash. Are you going to hit? There's a chance. I'm not going to say you're not, but there's a chance you're going to hit, right? Everybody's got a chance. And right now, with the difficulty at where it's at, you have a better chance than you did a month and a half ago to hit it. So again, that's why a lot of people are jumping over from pools to solo for right now. Get while the getting's good. When it comes to pool mining, and when I say pool mining, I mean that's where you're sharing the block rewards. Like, let me pull this back up over here. I hope I'm not giving you guys epilepsy doing this. Like when these miners hit right here, when these mining pools hit, these are pools. So everyone that was mining in the pool, like I'm just using this one as an example, this via BTC, when everybody was mining, they divvied up the reward among everyone based on their hash rate percentile. Okay. Let me find a solo block back here somewhere. There's got to be a solo. I know there was one that hit early today. Okay, well, Peak Mining it's a company, but it's solo mined it out. It's its own pool going through Datum. How do I know that? Because this symbol right here, it shows Ocean, but it's white, and it says Peak Mining. It doesn't say Ocean. So Peak Mining is using Datum or Datum. They're doing it for their own pool. They have their own pool. So Ocean only took 1% fee off of that, and they got everything else off this block. They got the 3.125 plus all the transaction fees, minus the 1% that Ocean took as their fee for their software development, maintaining their servers, all that happy good stuff. But when, an hour later, F2 pool hit, that went and was distributed to every person that had a machine in that pool based on their hash rate. So they got a taste. So instead of getting 3.125 Bitcoin like Peak did, all these people that are in F2 pool got some sats. Okay, they got a taste of it. So, and it's divided up because it's thousands of rigs that are in those pools, right? So something like this where you've got 6 terahash or 1.2 terahash or 1.5 terahash or even like a QX at 4.8 terahash, you're making sats at that point. You're getting a very little bit per block hit. Ideally, that's not the way you want to do it from an efficiency standpoint. Your electricity costs, when you put that in there, return on investment for the machine that you paid for, it's going to take a while to pay that stuff back. In my opinion, it's better off to try some solo mining with these little guys. Lottery mine it, right? Just rolling them dice, trying to hit it. When you get into the bigger boys, that's where you can actually start talking about. You can actually talk about doing some ops, and even something like an Avalon Q, right? So this is coming in about $1,749. But let me go down here real quick. Like, you're getting 90 terahash with that. So, that's better. With the electricity rate, it might be better for you, and you could say, hey, you know what, now I can go ahead and I can pool mine with that. Fantastic. That's great. Go for it. If you'd rather just solo mine for a while, get a small boy, get a nano. That's my advice. Get something like that. And then when you decide, okay, I like this, I definitely want to be a miner. I think mining is fun. I like what happens. I like that I'm helping secure the Bitcoin network. Go ahead and look into getting something bigger. And then if you live in a situation where, you can't have like for instance, these commercial miners, like, we'll look over here at like a 21. Let me pull an S21 up. So like this right here, like a Bitmain Antminer S21 that's mining at about 270 terahash, right? So that's like, 200 of these guys? Like over 200 of these guys mining. But these things are loud, guys. This is like having a jet parked in your living room if you were to try to do that. And the power draw they have, this is drawing like more power than like your dryer at home. So you don't necessarily want to, you can't just walk into your house and plug this in where the TV's plugged in and just say, okay, I'm going to mine. First of all, it's going to jet out heat like crazy. So you're going to be cooking yourself. And it's going to be loud, and it's just, the electric bill's going to be crazy. That's where you start looking into maybe hosted mining. Completely different topic. We'll be talking about that in the future as well. I do have some episodes on that, and if you look at our back episodes on X of Midweek Mining, then you'll be able to see where we talk about, hosted mining. We talk with the guys over at Wilson Mining in Iowa. I have on my YouTube channel where we talked with Nate over in Idaho that has his hosted farm, his mining farm as well. You can host with him. Basically, how it works is, like, I would buy this machine from Altair, and I would tell them in the notes when I'm buying it, hey, I want this to be shipped to my mining host. They're going to be expecting it, and Altair will ship that unit directly to me with to them on my behalf, and they'll send me the serial numbers and all that, and I'll still get all my tracking information, so that way I can tell my host, hey, this unit's coming to you. So there's things like that you can do, but that's obviously a discussion for another day. Bobby says S21 XP with an Urlocker sounds like a fire hazard, right? No, but you can do a 19 with it. Let's see here, Bitmain, a 19. Let me see where it's at right here. So, Vintage firmware. Let me see if they've got, where's the Urlocker stuff? And again, that's going to be a completely, like, another discussion we're going to have as well. Technically, you can run, where's it at on here? Accessories. Cables and adapters? Is that where we got it? Let me take a look. I'm kind of surfing around the Altair site right now. Where's that Urlocker mod? If one of you guys know where it's at and you get to it before I do, tell me. I guess I could just type it in up here. The Urlocker. There we go. Okay, so just kind of pulling this up to talk about this. Okay, so the Urlocker. Basically what this is, Bobby brought that up. Basically, David Urlocker, software development guy. I think he's over at LuxOS. So yeah, I know, Bob. I passed it, right? I passed it and then went somewhere else. So David Urlocker kind of came up with a thing that said, well, why can't we run one of these big boys like a 19 on a regular 120 volt residential power if we can just do something to it that drops down the terahash, the power drain, and that way you can run it in your house. And they call it the Urlocker mod. Okay, so basically what you do is very simple. I think Chris at Altair has a video on YouTube. It took him, 10 or 12 minutes to do it, and he basically, you convert over your power supply from the big boy power supply to a little boy power supply. They send you the whole kit from Altair when you buy it, and you're not going to get the full 100 plus terahash. You're going to come in, I think it's about 56 terahash is 56 terahash, kind of says it right here. But you'll be able to run it in your house. Inside, you don't need like a dryer plug connection to do it. You can run it off a normal plug. You just don't want to have too much on that circuit, right? You don't want the microwave and the fridge and all that running on that same circuit when you're doing that. But it is possible. And this is just, again, with Bitcoin, you can just build things, right? And it's cool stuff like this. So just a cool little thing. Kind of getting off the topic, but the original topic of solar mining. But like if you wanted to do something bigger than a like a 1.2 or like a 6 terahash, you could technically, if you're down to spend a little bit more money, you can get 56 terahash for about $1,000. And if you already have an S19 and you want to convert it, you can just get the conversion kit itself as well. Okay, look, $200, you got your conversion kit. So there you go. That's some cool stuff. What's Bobby saying in there? It's similar to the hash rate and power draw of an Avalon Mini 3. Yeah, let's pull up the Mini 3 as a matter of fact. Let's go ahead and... Where's that? In here? Mini 3. Here we go. So a Mini 3 looks like a baseboard heater, and that's kind of what it's designed for, is to be like a home heater. And like even the picture, they show that. Like, oops. Boop. Let's go back there. Come on. What are you doing? Go that way. It doesn't want to go back now. Let me see if I can do it. Anyway, in the picture shows it. It's kind of like a, looks like a baseboard heater, right? It's a little baseboard heater. And you get about 50, right there. Where's it at? Go back down here. Sorry, guys. 37.5 terahash. There you go. 37.5. It has like 3 settings on it. It's got like a low, medium, and an ultra. You can use it to heat your house, or heat a room in your house, or a couple rooms in your house. So if that's something you'd rather do, go for it. And look at that. That's 800 watts, right, of heating output. So converting electricity into heat for your house, right? So it's doing double duty. You live in a cold area. You live in an area with winter. That gets actual temperatures, unlike here in where I'm at, where it really doesn't get that cold too often. This might be something that's worth it for you. Cool little unit. So you've got your home heater that is also mining Bitcoin for you. So, I mean, instead of just, paying your electric bill and burning that money, literally burning it, what you're paying to the electric company to burn it and for the electric to be converted into heat, why not try to get some return on it, right? Maybe you do it as a lottery miner and you hit something, or you use that terahash toward a pool and you get some of your money back. It kind of cuts down on the cost of heating your house, right? So not bad. There's some cool stuff out there. Kind of this became like an impromptu little, what's it called? Like a hardware talk, but that's cool. There's other stuff out there right now that you can do as well that, I'm not going to sit here and say what not to use. I would say do your own research, have your due diligence, and find things that you think work for you. I would advise that if you're new to mining, don't just jump in and buy the biggest miner you can find and think that you're going to plug it in your garage and you're going to get that 290 terahash and everything's going to be great. There's drawbacks to that, right? There's pros and cons. You definitely got to sit there and do the Ben Franklin chart and kind of, weigh your pros and cons and find out if it's what you want to do. Don't get, the FOMO with it, or don't just instantly jump in and think, man, this is going to be awesome. You got to kind of run, as you get out of the hobby mining mindset, you got to start thinking more like a business, like you're an entrepreneur, okay? You're going to invest all this money in something. You want to make sure you do it right, okay? You want to make sure that you're doing it in a way that's profitable, okay? That's the key thing. That's cool. I like that Altair has that little ticker up there. They show the average hash price per day, the current USD price, the fiat conversion price, the next difficulty adjustment average. That's pretty cool. So I like that they do that. But yeah, just make sure if you're going to jump in, do your research. And if you're just not sure, where'd I put my water bottle? If you are just not sure, I didn't bring it in. Of course I didn't. It's the ADHD, guys. If you're not sure what you should get, what's your best thing to do? Again, I would say reach out to the guys over at Altair. Okay, let me see if they've got it on here, if there's a link for it. Here it is. Schedule a call. This doesn't cost you anything. You could schedule a call with the guys at Altair. I think it's usually Chris who does it. Chris is a great guy. He's a smart guy. Super easy to talk to. And basically, you book a time. He'll get on a call with you. They're going to talk to you about what your goals are. Like, are you hobby mining? Are you new to Bitcoin? Are you looking to expand from, you've got an S19 in the garage and a couple bit axes, and now you want to try to go a little more semi-pro and have that hash making money for you. What do you want to do with it? And they'll kind of walk you through what they think based on their experience, what would be best for you. Now, here's the cool thing about that. When you do that with them, if they think that, what you want to do is maybe not realistic or whatever, they're going to let you know that, okay? They're not doing this to say, they're not just product presenting. When you get in there, it's not just going to be someone from Altair saying, okay, well, in that case, what you want to do is buy this, $5,000 unit because that sounds like what you want. That's not the goal there, all right? Obviously, they want your business, but the way they want to build your business is through trust. I know this sounds like a paid advertisement right now, but it's not, okay? This is really not a paid advertisement for this. I do things, affiliate stuff with Altair, but tonight, this is just me talking about why I would do it. If you're new, talk to an expert. Let them give you some advice. They might tell you, you know what? That SealMiner A3 Pro you're looking at for $5,000 may not be the best start for you. Why don't you start with something a little smaller like an Avalon Q, run that for a couple months, see if this is really your bailiwick, and then we can talk from there about, doing something better, something bigger. So Q's very popular right now, guys. The Canon Avalon Q is very popular right now because you're getting a good hash rate for a good price. You can plug it in your house, okay, and you can actually pool mine with it. I mean, is it going to be super profitable? Not necessarily, but you can do it, okay. So all kinds of stuff to do with it, guys. The rabbit hole with mining Bitcoin is super deep, and it goes in so many different branches. There's so many people out there as well to listen to on that will talk to you about what they think you should do. And my advice to you on that is, if it doesn't sound realistic, it probably isn't realistic. Okay, so just please keep that in mind. Be diligent. Be smart with your money. If you're in Bitcoin or you're getting into Bitcoin, you're usually ahead of the curve with most people anyway, in that you're trying to protect your finances, right? So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So just make sure you do your due diligence on that. Let me see here. Sorry, I had somebody send me something on Telegram. But anyway, that's that for talking about that stuff. Now, so what we've gone over tonight, just as a quick recap, we're coming up on the 50-minute mark here. So quick recap. What we've talked about tonight is solo mining, because right now is probably a good time to do it due to the current difficulty being down, the lowest it's been in many months. And the chance that you're going to hit a solo block is better. Now, somebody might say, Cinco, you're saying that, but when I look at the mempool, I'm not seeing a ton of solo blocks, man. I'm just seeing the same old people hitting. Well, of course, their pools, they're going to hit. But again, your chances are better. Like, look at this, guys. 6 hours ago, unknown. I think that's the guy who had 239 petahash that hit there. And then look, Peak Mining hit again, right? But we can look and we can see there's some people on here that are hitting. Your chances are better. Whether it happens or not, that's still a dice roll. But your chances are better. I know some guys right now, one of my co-hosts on Midweek Mining, Bull, Bitcoin Bull, he has miners that he has hosted out, and he has some in his house and stuff. He has a little bit of everything everywhere for Bitcoin. He's a Bitcoin only guy, and he just recently put a couple of his units over into solo mining. He's generally a pool miner, but he put them over into solo mining because it's tempting. It's tempting right now to do it. So if you hit, good luck. I mean, I'd really love to see somebody hit. That would be great. And believe me, when somebody hits, everybody knows that somebody hit a solo block because people start shouting it on social media that somebody hit. Not necessarily who hit, right? But that somebody hit, because you can see right through the mempool who hit, or that someone hit it. So that's one of the things we talked about tonight. We talked about running your own node. You can do it on your own computer if you have like an old laptop laying around that can do it, or a Raspberry Pi unit, or you can go to a company like Umbrel, and you could either just download their software and do it and put it on your own computer or system, or a mini computer that you bought on Amazon. You can go to the guys at Start9, do something similar that you can do with Umbrel. Not as many options in their app store. It's more, I would say, more Bitcoin focused. If you're looking for a little more generalization, you're going to look at Umbrel. And then you got Parmanode, who does, looks like they take some refurbed machines. They have little mini computers as well that they do, and they do stuff like that. Then we talked about some miners, right? You can start off with something small like a Gamma. Again, like PlebSource, they got it at $74.99. Again, I'm not getting paid to pimp that out there, but they are the lowest price that I've seen right now, so that's why I'm talking about it. What do they got on sale? They got the Jailbroke Lucky 5. I got one of those behind me right now that I got from them, actually. Marshall over at PlebSource jailbreaks the Chinese Lucky Miners, and he installs a different OS on it, and you get about 2.5. I actually average, it says 4.2. I've been getting closer to 5 terahash on mine. It's got the Axe OS on it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, your warranty's voided right out of the box with it because he jailbroke it, but who cares? What the heck is that? Okay, let's go ahead and... Oops, sorry, I gotta go over here and... Let me go ahead and... Yeah, so anyway, that's just something that you could do, guys. There's always something that you can find that you can mine with, okay? If you have difficulty with it, there's lots of YouTube channels, there's lots of YouTube videos, there's lots of... let me see here. I'm trying to get my screen switched there. There's lots of blogs that you can read that will tell you exactly how to set this stuff up. Reach out to me on. You can reach out to me on X. I'm at Cinco Doggos. Okay. So I see a fuck pleb source in there. To each his own. There's other companies out there you can buy it from as well, but currently they're the lowest price. So. Everybody has you know, different tastes. I'm just showing that because it's the lowest price that I found online right now. But there's definitely options out there. Just make sure you're getting it from someone that you know you're going to get it from them. Okay, do your research. Make sure that they're reputable. I don't recommend buying it from like AliExpress or Temu or something like that. Your chances of getting a working one aren't that great. So just please be careful. There's a higher chance of failure, and then you have no recourse against them. Going with a reputable company, you've got recourse. You can always call them up and say, hey, my thing ain't working. Every time I've ever bought one of my miners from Altair, from Pleb Source, from Solo Satoshi, from Gecko Science, from Ixtech, from Kosatoshi. Anytime I've bought from any of those guys that I've just named, if I had an issue and I messaged them, someone got back to me super quick. Okay? They got back to me super quick. So just make sure you're getting from somebody reputable. That's going to be the key thing. Okay? With your nodes, just be careful what you put on there. You don't want to cross the streams, as they said in Ghostbusters. Make sure if you don't have anything that's commingling with your money. That can cause an issue. People talk about that right now with AI. You don't want AI stuff touching your Bitcoin stuff because bad things can happen. So keep an eye on that. And watch the difficulty adjustment. You go to mempool.space and monitor the mempool, what's going on there. Or if you've got your own node, like this is my own mempool. This is my own version of mempool.space running on my node with my information. So I mean, cool stuff, right? So it's self-sovereignty. It's self-sovereignty. That's what it is. Yeah, so that's what we got going. Now, do a little housekeeping as I'm wrapping up here. Next, I'll be doing another live stream here probably Sunday. I'll do a live stream. We'll do this again because I'm going to try to refine it a little more. My crappy office is finally not going to be a thing after the next 2 weeks. I will be getting the contractors, like I said at the beginning of this live stream, the contractors will be here starting this weekend, and they'll be building out my garage, which I'm turning into my studio, workshop, 3D printing area, Bitcoin mining area, soldering area, all that stuff, right? Like all my stuff that I do for my hobbies and my Bitcoining and all that. So I'll actually have it built out properly, and getting air conditioning put in there, the AC ducts, getting exhaust ducts put in for my Bitcoin miner, for the S19 that I keep out there, so I can pump that heat outside of the garage because I don't want it in there. Things like that. I'm also going to have a better little YouTube setup, so to speak, so it doesn't look like I'm in my crappy little office here. With the renovations going on. This is actually getting turned back into a bedroom since I'll have an office again. So yeah, that'll be in about 2 weeks. That should start happening. Next episode, I don't even know what it's going to be on yet, but I will tell you this. I am going to start doing a series on the unsung heroes of Bitcoin mining. I'm getting in touch with people that are in the Bitcoin mining space. I've already got a few lined up that have said they'll do it. That are going to come on that I feel have made significant contributions to Bitcoin mining and thus Bitcoin as a whole, and I just feel like they don't get enough credit for it. Okay, so I'm reaching out to some people. When you see them on the episodes, when I'm interviewing them and they're talking, there's a lot of people that you're going to be on there and be like, man, they invented that, they created that, they modded that. I didn't know that's how that came about. It's going to be some cool stuff. Or people that are building things for Bitcoin mining that are that they just they don't have a large social media spotlight, and that's okay, right? And again, guys, I'm not some super powerful big YouTuber social media guy. I'm just your average Joe. I'm a guy who works a regular day job. I love Bitcoin mining. I want to talk about it with people, and I like sharing it with others. So that's why I do this, right? I'm not doing this to become famous and monetized and all that stuff. This is more for fun and to talk with people. That's why I'm simulcasting this, because now I've got 3 different avenues. I've got people in the YouTube chat, I got people in the X chat, I got people in the Twitch chat, right? So it's more people to talk to about it, and hopefully people learn some things about Bitcoin mining, and I learn things as well, because I don't proclaim to be the end-all be-all of Bitcoin knowledge. Anyone who claims that is lying, okay? Anyone who's claiming to be that is lying. So just keep that in mind. My goal with this, again, is to share knowledge, to help, make the community more fun, and to just, maybe shine the light on some things that other people didn't know about. Bobby just said, I'm pumped to see your Unsung Heroes of Mining series. It's going to be a good one. I do have a sponsor for that, okay? It will be sponsored by Altair Tech, okay? They're the ones that are going to be kind of helping me get that going. They're definitely helping me get some of the people that I'd like on the show. They're helping me do that, because the guy who founded Altair, he's an OG Bitcoiner, and he has some connections that I don't. So I do appreciate that. Thanks to the guys at Altair for that. They're going to help me get in touch with that. We're going to have some heat punks on here. We're going to be talking to some OGs of Bitcoin mining. We're going to be talking to some software developers, guys who did things that are common for Bitcoin miners now, some OSs and things that you use in everyday Bitcoin mining. And we're going to have people on there that are the people who originally designed it. And we're going to talk to them and, their thought process behind it and why they did it and what they're doing now. And, kind of give them some credit where credit is due, right? They deserve some credit for doing this cool stuff we do. Bitcoin mining back in 2012 was 1,000 times harder than it is right now. It was significantly harder than it is now. Now you can literally plug and play things. Back then, you had to be able to do a little bit of coding and programming yourself. You had to try to find people that had a little website up that would show you how to do things, and then there was a lot of trial and error. Nowadays, you plug in a BitAx, you hop on your phone, you Bluetooth into it, you put your wallet number, you put your wallet address in there for your Bitcoin to go to, you put your pool address in where you want to mine from, and that's it. Congratulations, you're a Bitcoin miner, right? No dirt under your nails. Super easy. Back in the day, you couldn't do that. We're going to talk to the guys that made what we're doing right now, that made it this easy. We're going to talk to some of the guys that made that possible. Some of them are going to surprise you. It's guys that you probably find on X and stuff that you didn't even know that's what they do, because they're not out there waving their own flag and, thumping their own chest and patting their own back. So we're going to talk to guys that do stuff like that. It's going to be pretty cool. In the meantime, my little self-plug here, you can follow me on X. It's at Cinco Doggos, CINCODOGGOS. I'm on YouTube. You can find me with the same thing, Cinco Doggos. I think it pops up as Cinco Doggos Mining when you look it up, and you'll see it has my little husky on there and all that stuff. On Twitch, it's Cinco Doggos Mining. No, I think it's just Cinco Doggos. I'm wrong. It's just Cinco Doggos, but it says Cinco Doggos Mining. Anyway, give me a follow, give me a like, give me a subscribe. Do all that stuff. That way you can stay in touch with me. If you have questions, comments, you'd like a topic to be discussed, hit me up. I'm always looking for topics. But yeah, we're going to be doing a number of episodes on the Unsung Heroes of Mining. Looking into the future, I'm going to be at Mining Disrupt, both of them. I'll be at Mining Disrupt Miami, and I will be at Mining Disrupt Dallas. I will also be at Shitcoin Vegas this year. I'm not going to be a presenter or anything like that. I'm not important enough to do things like that. I'm running some side events for my side job that I do with one of the mining pools. But I will be at the conference, so I'm hoping to see some of you guys there. Hit me up. We'll go have a shot and a beer together. We'll talk about Bitcoin mining and how cool we are. But I'll do some man on the street interviews with that as well. If I find some people, if I can get FaceTime with some Bitcoin miners, some of the OGs, I'm going to ask them if they'll do a 5-minute segment with me, and I'll go live right at the cons. So, and if there's anything that's presented that's important to Bitcoin mining, I will be presenting it, and I'll talk. I'll present it on the channel as I get the information on it. So. We'll be doing that. So that's looking down the way, right? Yeah, Bobby says Disrupt Bros. I think Bobby's going to be with me at Disrupt Dallas, or Fort Worth, whatever we want to call it. But I think Bobby, if he's able to get off, he'll be going with me to that. So that's going to be pretty cool. We'll host that together. But yeah, man. Remember, mine your Bitcoin. That's the way to go. Make sure you got your stuff secured. Make sure you guys are using your cold wallets. Get your stuff in cold storage so that way it's protected as you can make it. If you have questions, hit me up. Please like, subscribe, follow, do all that good stuff. Tell your friends about it. The more people I can talk to, then the more giveaways I can do, okay? We are going to be doing more giveaways. I'm trying to get some Nano 3Ss to give away. They won't be as often as I do the Gammas that I used to give away. Kind of had to curtail that a little bit with the giveaways. I was getting pushback from people. I was getting some people that were trying to game the system and that were trying to clone accounts and AI things, and I kind of got a sour taste in my mouth. I stopped doing giveaways for a little while. I also had some people sending me messages that weren't fun, basically saying that I was shilling. I wasn't shilling. I was paying for these things myself and giving them away, and if I wasn't paying it for it myself, I said who donated it. So I don't know where people got that I was doing anything shady, but whatever, to each his own, and go fuck yourself if you thought I was doing something shady. Yeah, I want to give away some Nano 3Ss. I want to give away some Gammas. I'd like to give away a node. I might try to set up one of those Raspberry Pi 500s or get a mini computer and set up a node with an Umbral OS on it or something. We'll give that away. I just got to get up the money to do it. So again, I'm not getting paid to do a lot of this stuff, guys. I do this with my own ducats. So hopefully I'll hit a block. Or hopefully there's something on this. Hopefully there is something on this. So we'll get into that discussion at another time. But all right, we just went over the hour mark. I'm going to say goodnight to you guys. Thank you, everybody who tuned in. I'll see you guys soon. Remember, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central on Twitter, on X, we do midweek mining. Me, Bitcoin Bull, and Bobby. Okay, we talk about, straight up just talk about Bitcoin mining. So come in, check us out. But adios. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good night. This is Cinco signing off.